Welcome back, gays, ghouls, and everyone in between, to our YouTube channel, The Horror Bandwagon. Hi, my name is Sergio.
And my name is Cody.
And we are your boys for horror analysis,
Criticism,
and spooky
and sometimes kooky
entertainment. And if you probably guessed by the title of this video, we had just gone to see Ty West's new movie, X. And you could probably tell because I'm trying to serve some Mia Goth realness right now. I have the blue eyeshadow that she rocks in the movie. I have some freckles. And at some point, she has a like polka dot red bandana. I do not have that except in a face mask form, and I'm not gonna wear a face mask on my head. So here is a red sort of looking alike hat.
And I'm serving movie theater attendee realness.
If you ever want to go to the movie theater, you're trying to find out what to wear, this is a pretty good, comfortable fit. It's nice. You know, you're rocking some Sarah Bareilles.
You got a thin sweatshirt, just in case it's too warm or too cold in the theater.
There you go. And you can easily take it off. It is a little bit too warm. Oh my God. Anyways, that's not the point of this video. So we are going to go ahead and give you a spoiler-free review. Our original thoughts were that we were going to give you a spoiler-free review and then later on in the video give you spoilers. However, I strongly do recommend going to the theater this weekend or down the line next week to go see this movie. Just because we want to be able to promote horror movies, especially ones like this one that is so fresh and so new, and it's not like part of a franchise or anything. Now, without ruining our thoughts on the film, definitely we do recommend you going to the big screens to watch the movie this weekend. And if you guys would like, we will probably maybe do a all spoiler review probably next weekend.
Yeah. And let's not forget, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click that notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new video.
Now, before we continue and talk about our initial thoughts, let's talk about the synopsis real quick. A group of actors sets out to make an adult film in rural Texas under the noses of the reclusive hosts. But when the elderly couple catches their young guests in the act, the cast finds themselves in a desperate fight for their lives. And that, I think, pretty much sums it up. Like, you think that this is like, oh, okay, something happens, then a disruption happens, and then like all hell breaks loose, right? And that's pretty much what happens. But I think the movie does a great job of keeping it interesting.
Yeah.
I think that throughout the film, all this it happens is like it's a pretty simple plot, but there are a lot of twists and turns in it that you did not really expect to happen. So it makes it interesting throughout the whole film.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that because you go into it, at least I went into it thinking like, this is what the movie's going to be about. It's going to be about people making a porno. And then it, like, every time you think you know what movie this is, it gives you a different movie, which is really cool. That is
so that's a very interesting and important point to make, because I feel like, especially now, there's just like a big resurgence of elevated horror. I think people are thinking like, oh, you have to make elevated horror from now on. And I think the trailer, because we did see the trailer, I think based off the trailer itself, you kind of feel like, oh, this is giving elevated horror vibes. You know, maybe there's a source of paranormal stuff, or maybe there's just going to be really deep things that you're going to have to think about throughout this movie, which there are some, but I think what I like about this movie is that there are elements of elevated horror, but at certain points, it kind of takes a turn down a different path all of a sudden. And then once that happens, you're kind of like, oh, buckle up. You're going on for a ride. And you kind of just like sit back a little bit. I will say that this movie is a little bit of a slow burn.
Yes, that's true.
So this might not be for everyone.
Yeah, it's a very smart movie in the way that it tells the story and goes about everything. I do also really want to call out the cinematography and the shots that are in this movie are just beautiful.
It's very good because it's set in the 70s. So like it doesn't look like an old-timey movie, but it does have that essence. I don't know how to really explain it, but it doesn't have like a filter or anything like that. Obviously, when they're filming the pornographic scenes, there is that filter and that film that they're using that makes it looks very 70s movie. But I think it does set the scene a lot. Like, we know that we're in the 70s and it feels that way, along with the music. The music is great. And something with the music that really caught my eye was that they were able to kind of make this mixture of happy 70s, like really popping music, and then it like flips it to like the scary. They have this one score that they use a lot throughout it, and I don't want to spoil it any more than I am already, but I like their usage of how it sounds, because it kind of sounds like a moaning sound.
Yeah, I know,
but
exactly
in a
what you're talking
creepy
about.
way.
I do also think that the other piece that was just really phenomenal about this movie is the cast.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
This
just want to
cast.
start off with saying Brittany Snow, love her, always have,
Brittany Snow.
always will.
This is a Brittany Snow fan account. This is the stan account. No,
She was really great in the movie. I was like a little nervous because I've never seen her in a horror.
She's done, at least to my recollection, 2 other horror movies, but they're not to this level. And it kind of was a proud moment because I feel like we both grew up with Brittany Snow a little bit. She's been in so many movies that we've seen, and she's very much of a comedic actress. And in this one, she does have her comedic roots. But I think her character was really a standout for me. And I love what she did in this movie. So definitely praise to her.
And I thought her accent was really good too. This is a movie with Southern accents. It takes place in Texas. And I feel like when you get accents in a movie, it's sometimes like really like, because because people don't always do, like, a Southern accent is hard, I think, to do really well. Everyone can do one, but like you can tell when someone is just like faking.
No, everyone seemed like they belonged where they were. You know, they were all committed to their characters. And something about these characters I really do have to commend is that for the most part, I think all of them are pretty likable. Like our core group, we could definitely get behind. We do have, as I said before, it's a slow burn until we get to how everything happens. But I think it's important that we get to meet these characters and get to know them and fall in love with them, and we really get to spend time with them, and I think that's important. And on top of that, it's not boring. Like, it's really interesting, and you really are wanting to know more about these characters. And I think I have to give them props, because they could have done like we hate each one of them and it's like whatever, when eventually maybe they start getting picked off one by one. But I think they did a good job of making us like each of them in their own way.
Yeah. Jenna Ortega, I think we should also shout out.
Jenna Ortega.
Because I was like interested to see what her character was going to be like, coming off of like seeing Scream several times.
Yeah.
and I was really happy that she had such a different presence in this film.
She definitely had a different presence. She gave us a different take of what she could do. So her range is really like shining through. So I really hope that she gets to do more horror movies, even like be the lead girl of the horror movie. This one's more of like an ensemble cast, if I'm being honest. So hopefully that she gets that chance, because I really do think that she's showing so much range and her acting is so good in this one. Mia Goth, so good as pretty much our more focused point. But the scene that she has, she's just like so pretty, which I mean, like, I'm trying to like be her a little bit. But I think Mia Goth in this movie really shines. Kid Cudi, so good in this movie. And I'm usually very like skeptical when it comes to musicians being in horror movies, but he knocks it out of the park. I think he's so good. His presence is so natural. And for everybody who is interested, we get a lot of him, and in very good ways. And I think we can all appreciate that. Now let's talk briefly about the horror aspects of this movie. And this is the part where we have to really tiptoe about what we're gonna say.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say, I'm going to leave it very very short and sweet
Okay.
is that this movie got me good a couple times.
Oh yeah, like the jump scares in this movie aren't cheap. Like they're generally like they catch you off guard. When you think you're kind of safe, you're not.
Yeah.
And I really like that. Both of us jumped at certain points, and it was one of those. It's one of those theater going experiences where it's like obviously there's some jump scares that are so stupid that you're kind of annoyed by them. But in this movie, when it happens, the whole audience is kind of like, you got us, like it's really good and it's kind of refreshing. Yeah. So, and without spoiling a lot here, I do think that even the villains of the movie are complex and complicated because there are heartwarming moments. There are moments where I'm like, oh,
yeah,
like I feel bad, but then I'm like, no,
but like you don't this and we talked about the characters a little bit earlier, but you're right that like even the villains here, they're good, they're scary, but they are also complex on their own.
They're very complex. There's a lot to their story, and you're so interested. Like there are movies where like, no, let's get back to our core group. No, in this part, you're very much invested as to what's going on. I'm gonna tell you, I know there were some reviews that I saw that people were either complaining that like the deaths were really good, or not complaining. I'm sorry, more like just stating that some deaths were not as interesting and then some other deaths were really cool. I will say this is a good mixture of kills that we have in this movie.
Yeah.
Again, we're not going to go really in depth about what they are, but let's just say there's a good variety of them and some that were like, I didn't think that this was going to come back around, but it did. I hate being so vague. I hate being like, I feel like the audience is like, damn, what? But I hope this is making you want to go see the movie.
This is the point. We want you to go see this movie so that when we do release our full spoiler review, where there is a lot to talk about for this movie, that you'll be able to interact with us as well.
Ty West, I think, is so smart with what he did with this movie. He produced it, he wrote it, he directed it. I can't believe he just managed to get all this, and it left us wanting more, which apparently there is going to be more. This is not a spoiler. It's already been out. Apparently, Ty West has filmed the prequel to this movie, and I think he's setting to make one more. So honestly, bring it on. I'm very interested, and there's a lot of, as you can see, I feel like there's going to be a lot of cosplaying Mia Goth's character in this, who is Maxine. And I feel like it's going to be a iconic franchise if he does go down that route. So I hope he does. One thing I do want to leave it off here, something that I like that they did in the movie was they had a good mixture of comedy and horror. A lot of, even during the horrific parts, there was some comedy to them.
But it also, like, it wasn't a horror comedy, though, either.
It's not a horror comedy. That's the thing. Like, it does such a good job at mixing a horrifying, like, taking it seriously. Like, this movie is a serious horror movie, but it kind of, like, had those unintentional comedic parts, which made it a fun ride, I think. And on top of that, I do like the little bit of commentary that they have regarding the the pornography industry, that they did have a lot of good commentary, that they could have made these characters like satire, like satirical and just like animated, and didn't take itself too seriously. But there were some good underlying things about why are we making this pornography movie when no, these things can be considered art, and these are genuine jobs that these guys have, and I really appreciate that, because I think as a horror lover and in the horror community, we feel the same way, that people just think that this is just gross horror movies, but some of these horror movies can be considered art. And so now it is time for our rating. And if you guys remember from our last video that we made where we were rating the 2022 horror films ahead of time, like we were going to give our predictions, I gave it a 6. And Cody, you gave it
an 8.
An 8. Mostly because you really thought that you were going to like this film. And I thought that I wasn't sure because I didn't really know a lot. So I gave it a 6. Cody, what is your now official rating now that we have seen it?
I'm sticking with an 8. I was a good predictor.
Okay. I am going to rate it an 8. I am changing my rating from the 6 that I gave it before to an 8 now that I have seen it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Maybe because I thought it was going to be artsy, but I do like artsy films. I don't know what I was a different person. I'm grown now. No, I mean, I really liked it. I think Ty West did a really good job with this film.
This movie was super well done.
And I can't wait to see it again, honestly. And I feel like if this movie came out around the same time the Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, I think it would be a horror classic.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that. And obviously, like, we're open to everyone's opinions. Let us know what you thought. If you didn't like it, let us know why. Because we're maybe on cloud 9 from this movie, but I honestly think it's a breath of fresh air for the horror community.
Yeah, but again, please do not leave any spoilers without at least tagging them as spoilers.
Or a warning. Yeah, give a warning. But with that being said, guys, that is our review for X. Please make sure to go over and watch it. Would you recommend people watch it?
Yeah, for sure. Go watch it.
I recommend it too. And if you want to catch us anywhere besides the YouTube channel, make sure to follow us on Instagram at
The Horror Bandwagon.
Or on Twitter at
Horror Bandwagon. Know that.
You can also go over to our website, www.thehorrorbandwagon.com. That's where you can find our podcast episodes, or just go where you get your podcasts as well. But on our website, you can find our merch, which we're also trying to raise money for the Trevor Project. Any profit that we make, we're going to send it over there. And with that, we have been your source for horror analysis,
criticism,
and spooky,
and sometimes kooky
entertainment.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.